Okay, so Donald Trump, big threats on my life by Iran. The entire U.S. military is watching and waiting. Moves were already made by Iran that didn't work out, but they will try again. Not a good situation for anyone I'm surrounded by. More men, guns, weapons than I've ever seen before. Thank you to Congress for unanimously approving far more money to Secret Service Congress. 0 no votes, strictly bipartisan. Nice to see Republicans and Democrats get together on something. An attack on a former president is a death wish for the attacker. So Donald J. Trump sitting there claiming he's scared for his life that Iran is attempting to assassinate him. And look, guys, everybody on Twitter, from some of these people, like, the Jake Shields and all these people are like, oh, well, he's just talking out of his ass. We know who's trying to get at him. It's the deep state, wada. Look, guys, I wouldn't be surprised if they're involved, if Iran's involved indirectly. Let's look at this video of Donald Trump here crying about him being threatened by Iran. Him having his life threatened by Iran. I don't know where this is coming,
But if I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case Iran, that if you do anything to harm this person, we are going to blow your largest cities and the country itself to smithereens. We're going to blow it to smithereens. You can't do that. And there would be no more threats. There would be no more threats. But right now, we don't have that leadership or the necessary people, the necessary leaders. We have two people, not one. We don't even know who our president is right now. Who is our president right now? We really don't know, but we have two people, not one, that only keep looking. And when you do that, when you just look, trouble always ensues. So it's big trouble for our country. Meanwhile, we have the president of Iran in our country this week. We have large security forces guarding him, and yet they're threatening our former president and the leading candidate to become the next president of the United States. Certainly a strange set of circumstances.
Okay, so, Trump's just talking. Again, I don't take whatever Trump says seriously, guys. I'm not one of these MAGA supporters that think Trump is gonna fix anything.
Reaction.
I think he just.
To all of this, let's welcome former coordinator for the counterterrorism unit under Trump, Nathan Sales, joins us. Ambassador, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Now, what appears to be happening is Iran keeps testing us, and I say us, it's not necessarily the Biden administration because they seem to be getting a free ride, but it's Israel specifically that they're testing out. Why is it just Israel that's pushing back? There doesn't seem to be any pushback at all from this administration on what Iran is doing.
Well, it's a great question, David, and thanks for having me on. You're exactly right. Iran is the puppet master. It's Hezbollah that's drawing the headlines with the rockets that they've been launching into Israel literally for a year. But let's be clear about who's ultimately responsible for Hezbollah's actions, and that's the theocrats in Tehran who fund Hezbollah, who train it, who provide it with weapons, provide it with know-how. I think what's going on here is Israel is trying to accomplish two things. First of all, they want to signal to Hezbollah and to their masters in Iran, knock it off because we can degrade you significantly. You don't want a war with us. Don't push us to the brink. But the second thing Israel is trying to do, if that messaging is unsuccessful and a wider war is unleashed, Israel's trying to take some of Hezbollah's pieces off the chessboard, degrading their leadership and taking away some of their military capabilities to better protect the Israeli people there in the north of the country.
Well, Ambassador, it does seem that Iran itself believes it could get a better shake out of Kamala Harris and out of Donald Trump as the next president of the United States. I mean, they hacked into Trump's campaign somehow and were trying to share that information with the Harris campaign. But the real question is whether they're actually involved in trying to physically eliminate Donald Trump from this race. Is it conceivable? I mean, do you think that they have an active campaign that they think they can take out Donald Trump before the election?
I think they certainly want to. Look, Donald Trump and his administration made a courageous decision to eliminate the terrorist mastermind, Qasem Soleimani. This is a man who had the blood of literally hundreds of Americans.
That's another thing, guys. A lot of people forget that Trump has blood on his hands. All right, so he's got blood on his hands. He pretty much assassinated Qasem Soleimani, who is he was a leader in the Quds Force, who was, I think he was tasked with the organization and bringing weapons to some of the resistance groups in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. So Trump indiscriminately just sent an airstrike to his location in Iraq. I believe they had intel on where he was at, and he assassinated them, to which, he even informed Netanyahu of the assassination. Netanyahu even said, I don't want to have anything to do with this, right? So Trump assassinated that man, who was really a high-ranking Revolutionary Guards individual, and he has blood on his hands, right? So the fact that Iran might be indirectly involved in assassinating Donald Trump is not a surprise. For those people thinking that, all that is bullcrap, I don't think it's, that they're themselves directly are involved. I think there's a lot of other people who are conspiring for that to happen. And, they're definitely conspiring to take this guy out, right?
Soldiers on his hands. And Iran has never forgotten that, and they are determined to exact vengeance on President Trump, on his advisors. I have to wonder whether the Biden administration is taking this threat seriously enough. They're saying the right things. They're telling Iran, knock it off. But what we need to see is more than just words. Remember, back in the 1990s, when Saddam Hussein's Iraq tried to assassinate former President George W. Bush, Bill Clinton didn't just stand in front of the cameras and wag his fingers. He bombed Baghdad.
That's right.
And Saddam got the message and backed down. Iran is not going to back down just because we issue a couple of sternly worded press releases.
Here's what Donald Trump says he would do if he was in that situation, if he was president again. I'm going to roll that clip and get your reaction. Roll it.
If I were the president, I would inform the threatening country, in this case, Iran.
These people think that Trump is like some, big time, G that's like, he's about that life or about that action. Guys, I'm not buying any of that stuff, okay? He has a big old mouth. And if anything, he sits and talks to all these world leaders, right? And he's honestly trying to befriend everyone and figure out a way to not have a war. I mean, the guy once flew to North Korea and shook hands with Kim Jong-un. Trump's not no warmonger, okay? He's not a warmonger. Stop these neocons who are supporting Trump thinking like he's one of those dudes that's going to, he's really, he's just like warmongering, strong leader. He's not any of that stuff, okay? Just like Kamala said, Putin will literally eat this guy for dinner. Putin's a warmonger, war hungry. Putin has no emotions when it comes to war and any of that stuff, right? Trump's just some real estate agent that got a loan from his dad and built his billion-dollar empire, and now he's talking his way into the presidency. Anyways, man, there's a huge concern, and I think it's a legitimate concern that there might be a third assassination attempt on Donald Trump before the elections, okay? And I think the reason why Iran doesn't want to escalate with Israel at this moment is to figure out what they're going to do with the outcome of this next U.S. election, which is honestly, man, this is a really a wild card here. It's a toss-up because they're both, they both have a chance to win it, really. If you look at the polls and stuff like that.